It's that time again. It's time for another Saturday night special where we talk about everything rockhounding related. Hope you guys are having a fabulous week. I've been very, very busy as of late, and through the magic of YouTube, I've managed to get videos out and on time. Been feeling a little under the weather. The dog's a little under the weather. The cat's a little under the weather. But everything is looking up. So that's one of the reasons why we were not here last week on the Saturday night special, but we're here now, and I got plenty to talk about. Well, heading out to the Olympic National Forest was very, very cool. It was extremely cool to meet up with Chris, Old Guy Adventures. I absolutely enjoy hanging out with him. Unfortunately, we live really far apart. So, you know, I live on one end of Washington, and he lives on the other. You know, we could maybe be a little bit farther apart while being in the same state, but pretty close. So I do value the time that I get to spend with people that are, I mean, I'm basically an expert in that area. I mean, it was very cool to get guided around by Chris, and I always make sure to pester people like him with plenty of questions about things, and it's nice that he has answers. So definitely go check out his channel. It was very cool to get to see him once again. As well, this past week, this thing, I made this. We made this. Okay, so this was one of the gifts that I made for Sarah. Yeah, we're gonna focus. We're gonna focus. Let's look at this. Okay. What we have here is some picture Jasper attached to a knife. Basically that. And I am going to make some more of those because I really did think that was a fun project. I enjoyed it. So I have some additional knife blanks here that we will be doing. How about another one of those? Some littler guys as well. I think this is a good use for, you know, some of the rock that I have. So we have the 6-inch knife. That is a fruit knife. And this really, really little guy here, this little paring knife. Look at that tiny little guy. Well, I do like working with the Jaspers for these, and I think actually this guy, which I found with Chris, this green, it's pretty dark in here. This green Jasper will be some handle slab material, and that's a pretty perfect perfect match. So that'll look really, really good. If you watched the video doing this, I did struggle with the drilling of holes. Now, I don't think it's necessary at this point. I think the two-part epoxy, it has held up quite well, and it will continue to hold up quite well. That said, I would like to get to a point with it where I could still potentially drill flawless holes in rocks. Now, a lot of people give a lot of advice. It is more difficult than you might think to get a perfect hole. Something that is on par with these. It needs to be flawless. Now, often when I've been messing around drilling holes in rocks, you get a little bit of an oblong shape to the hole, especially if you're doing it by hand. Now, there are things like the Gunther water drill swivel. I know Lapidary Dave uses it, and I do think that is a viable option. But if you're just trying to like hand drill, like you use a Dremel with a bit or a Fordham, I don't see it. Like you'll get little, you're not freehanding it, and then it's also hard with the drill press. It's just I'll figure it out eventually, but I have yet to figure out how to drill a 100% like flawless hole as if you're drilling through metal but through stone. So I'm open to ideas, but there's a lot of opinions on it, but not a whole lot of people showing the results that they have produced. as being flawless, like measured with like a, like calipers or whatever. So I'll get there. At some point I will make a drilling video. Speaking of Jaspers, well, there's a couple of things that really make me upset, that I get very bent out of shape over, and this is one of them. And it is the renaming of rocks. It just needs to stop. I hate it. I hate people renaming rocks that already have names, because I don't even know why. It just namaste. Okay. Let me show you a couple of things here. First off, this is a piece of Jasper. That's Jasper. This back here, Jasper. Jasper on that knife. Jaspers. Also Jaspers, given to me by my buddy Matt. Jasper. Jasper. One more from him. Jasper. Not Jasper. Also not Jasper. Now I'm going somewhere with this, but I need my examples sitting out here. Well, these here, these three up front, these are rhyolite. Rhyolite is an extrusive igneous rock. This was once lava coming out of the ground, and it cooled off. Yes, it has a large amount of silica in it. Yes, it can have nice picture. These are not a picture Jasper. Now, I have seen way too many people try to make the argument that rhyolite is a picture Jasper. It is not a Jasper. It is not a Jasper. The subject of the renaming of things is just, it gets under my skin. It gets under my skin. It really does. I think it's super, super dumb when we already have this name, which is rhyolite. We do not need to call it something else. We do not need to call it picture stone. We do not need to call it a picture Jasper. I've even seen somebody make the argument that since rhyolite is heavy in silicate, and that silicate can get eroded out and brought down through groundwater or whatever, and then eventually hydrothermically redeposited, that forms Jasper. The rhyolite and the Jasper are the same, which that just breaks my brain. That is not true whatsoever. I mean, if you want to extend that line of thinking out, we could take something like this agate here and be like, well, that's just actually volcanic ash. That's where the silicate came from, so, it's just ash. That's volcanic ash. That's it. No, that makes no sense. And also, I don't believe there's any form of testing that would be able to identify the original silica origins. So if we took this piece of rhyolite right here, and I ran so much water over it that it became non-existent, and separated out all that silicate, and then redeposited it through hydrothermal activity into, I don't know, cracks. So we had these big seams. We had seam agate along with other mineralization. I don't believe there's any way to tell for sure that the silica in this came from that. If there is a test that can definitively say that that is what happened, I would like to hear what that test is. These are not the same. Even if the origin of the silica is this, like at some point it has sufficiently changed into something else. The renaming of the rocks is somewhat acceptable, in my opinion, if it is additive and helps, as opposed to removes information and hinders the identification of the rock. Let me give you a couple of examples of that. If I say azurite after malachite on calcite, that is calcite with malachite, and I'm talking about the azurite, that the malachite, that's after the malachite. So there's a way of phrasing things that can paint a picture in the head of the person hearing it. If I say greenstone, that's not helpful. What is that? What even is that? Now, I feel like I'm knowledgeable in this. Here is a stack of Rock and Gem magazine that I have read every single word on every single page, every single ad, every single article, and meticulously studied them and taken notes. These are the issues that we have used so far in the previously Rockhounding podcast. Now, there is so many common names in these for stones, rocks, whatever, that no longer exists, that it is also has removed what the actual material was. And needs to stop. It's stupid. It is stupid, in my opinion. I just don't like it. And if people continue to rename things whatever they want, well, I'll continue to just point out how much I dislike it. A good example of that would be, well, look, okay, so here is a piece of rhyolite from Utah, and it looks like there's a little island. What if I just called this island stone? What if I just called it island stone? It's island stone now. No, that removes the locality, that removes the actual material. Not good. What is this right here? What is that? Anybody? This is an iron-rich basalt that has vesicles that are filled with calcite, chalcedony, and zeolite group minerals. Amygdaloidal basalt filled with those things. Lots of information. It is not a galaxy stone. That is stupid. Don't call it that. I don't... You know, basically for a living, I interact with people now. That is what I do. And it makes the communication extremely difficult when people are just renaming stuff because they think it's cute, or they think it's funny, or they think it's marketable. No, we already have processes in place. We already do. Now, there is one case that I can think of where renaming of something would be really good. But you know what? It is an extremely negative situation, and maybe we could save that for next week if you're so interested. If you want to hear the mineral that I have in mind that should be renamed as a purely punitive measure against that person, go ahead and let me know down below. Let me know down below. But I do like things that are in addition, you know, that don't remove it. I mean, if this is Jasper, that's cool, you know. It can be Idaho Sunset Jasper. That's fine. Why not? But it is still a Jasper. It is not. If I took this and I was like, well, that kind of looks like a zipper, right? Like we could be like, well, that's a zipper rock. No, like that's not. It's not. Anyways, whew. I've been fired up. I've been all this week, I have had communication with a large number of people pertaining to a huge assortment of rocks that people have renamed or chosen to rename, or people are repeating other things that people have renamed, and it just makes for a big confusing mess. And when you're getting over feeling a little under the weather, having a big confusing mess over and over is not what you want. So don't rename rocks. They already have perfectly acceptable names. And if you really want to market something, well, maybe just add information to it and don't reduce the amount of information. What do you think? Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Should we should we be able just to say whatever? Well, whew. Okay, everybody. Next week, I have a very long and good video for you this coming week that I'm very happy with. Me and Sarah took a very fun trip, and I think the video that I made about it was very good. So, with that said, we will leave this one here. I think I'm going to slab this guy up. I'm going to slab that up, I think, and work on some additional knives. And I appreciate you. Thanks to everybody over on Patreon who support this project. And thanks for listening to me rant tonight. I'll talk to you later.